Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This one we are talking about why you suffer and what to do about it. So just a minor topic, not too important. It's like, it's like that clickbait you always see on the internet, right? Like click here for one weird trick for why you suffer and how to stop that immediately.
Mm.
My name is Dr. Asatar Bear, and here's my co-teacher, Leah Schaefer.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
We're here every week. We teach heart rhythm meditation, method of meditation that comes out of Sufism, the Sufism of Khan, and we always trying to give you a reason to meditate, right? We always try to think about themes and
Trying to lure you in.
try to lure you in exactly, and make you think, what maybe this meditation stuff is a good idea. Maybe I should do.
This is a good idea. People seem to think it's a good idea.
People seem very taken. Um,
Mhm.
and so this is one of these old teachings in spirituality. It's in many different traditions, right? um, what is the nature of life, and why is it hard? Why do we suffer? Why is there pain? And is there anything that we can do that makes it better, that makes it easier? And we know that life is always pushing us to grow, right? And growth causes pain. But is there a difference between that and suffering, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, okay, so there's going to be some pain in life, but do you have to suffer, right? Like, and I think, the Sufism has a wonderful teaching about this, right? Which is, you suffer more when you don't understand what's going on, right? When you're confused and overwhelmed and it doesn't seem like there's any reason for it, right? Like you're like, why, right? I mean, and we've all sort of had this, right? Like something happens and you go like, why is this happening? Why me like this, right? Uh,
Hmm. Or it
and
might be irreconcilable whenever that
yeah,
happened.
yeah. Um, Maybe there's no good answer to that, right? But what the teaching is there's layers to the self, right? And a lot of what we know about ourselves is just so limited. It's so small, and that keeps us on the surface, and it keeps us from uh, a lot of our real resources that we could, if we had access to that, we could draw upon so much more, right?
Mm.
um, and that if we had access to our true self, um, with our unbelievably rich and powerful set of qualities, right? That is who we really are. Um, well, then our problems would look very different. Our pain would look very different. It puts everything in perspective. It gives you so much more that you can draw upon. And when you really know yourself on that deep soul level, right, on the level of the infinite qualities of your being, there you don't suffer in that same way, right? Of course, there's going to be pain, right? But you have a sense of purpose. You have a sense of, here is what I am becoming. There's a deeply felt uh, feeling, right, of like, there's a why there, here's why I'm here. And this is not something it's not something that can be so easily encapsulated in words, right?
No.
It's a feeling, um, it's not like I'm here because blah, 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 right? It's like there is a meaning and purpose in my life, that, Sufism teaches, right, that the nature of reality, the nature of the universe is unity. There is one
Mm.
being, and that being longs to endlessly discover and know him herself, right? Like that's why we're here on a grand level. And we all of the trials and tribulations that we go through have a meaning and have a purpose within that. And it's one thing for me to say that, right? Like any of this stuff, I can say it. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Some guy with a white beard is saying this stuff. you know, it doesn't matter. What matters is when you feel it yourself. You know, that gives you strength. That gives you the ability to get through any challenge. Um, or at least this is what I felt. This is what it is for me. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And you said that, the kind of the purpose behind manifestation is that the one life or the cosmic consciousness or God or however you want to put it is actually discovering itself. It's like, discovering all of the facets of itself, and it's like through its own knowledge, of like through our manifestation, through our body, through our unique individual selves, it is learning a unique part of itself. And
yeah.
you, as the practitioner, like as you create more and more self knowledge, you are realizing more of yourself. And if you get to the point, you're discovering more of yourself, and within that facet, like the purpose of life is fulfilled. But you can reach a point of self knowledge where you're accessing unity consciousness experiences within your own being, within your own heart. And when you do that, it is a feeling of knowledge of self and an experience of knowledge of self that it washes every pain, every sorrow, every suffering with its pure life force. And in
Mm,
that moment, you're really accessing a soul level of yourself. Um,
yeah.
and even beyond that, it's like the soul is even almost individual compared to cosmic consciousness, but it is a point of contact. It's a point of within your body, like it's a point of I mean, it's all part of it. It's all part of the one life. But this kind of access to this depth of your being, which is often called the soul, um, it gives you that access to a part of you that is never ever tainted
Mm,
um, by any experience that you've had. And so
yeah.
it kind of like helps to, I don't know why or how, maybe Asatar, you can speak on this, but like it helps to relieve pain even when it's not resolved. Like even when the issue still exists, that it really changes the pain inside of you. Do you know why that happens, Asatar?
Well, I no, but
Does
I
though.
I feel like it's like wisdom always helps, right? Understanding always helps. And how does it help? I don't know exactly, right? Like, I mean, there's a part of it where you say, well, this too shall pass, right? I mean, that's part of it. There's a part of it where you say, well, maybe this experience is given to me to help me grow. Um, there's so I think there's a part of it that is like seeing the larger context and not getting
Right.
overwhelmed with your individual you
Right.
trial,
That's
right?
it. That I think that's it. It's like the limitation of our like own narrow scope. We tend to identify with something so intensely. Like um, I might identify completely with like um, having a certain, said life, like this is what success looks like to me, for example. My entire identity is wrapped up in that, and soon as like that deters, then suddenly my identity is like totally blown and up in my face, and it causes like tremendous pain and suffering. And
Yeah.
then it's like, so it's like that shift of perspective of your own identity. It's the shift out of identifying with only the limitation and into this self realization, into this God realization that is inside, or goddess realization that is inside of you always. But it's a matter of like opening that consciousness up within your own being.
Yeah. And we're told so many things, right? I mean, like I think I like what you said about this is what it's supposed to look like, or this is like, my image of things or whatever, right? Like this
Yeah.
is my expectation. And we have so many of those. I mean, we have a lot of those that are just given to us by society, right? I mean, like
Big
this is,
time. Yeah.
partly why it's difficult to like, they're like, oh, I'm 25 now, I'm supposed to have this done, or I'm 30, or I'm, whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously I'm not 25 yet. That's years. But I mean, there's all these standards and
Mm,
whatever that are given to us by society, and then we're like, oh no, my life isn't like that. I'm a failure, and it causes a lot of inner conflict, right? Because it's like how your life is relative to how it's supposed to be, right? And
mm,
you know, I feel like when you really dive deep into the infinite qualities that are in your heart and your soul, it just helps you to provide some context, like,
mm,
you have your reasons, right? I mean, and it's so interesting because if we look at other beings, like if we look at trees, you don't go up onto a mountain and see a small tree, because the seed happened to fall in a crack in the mountain. And then, it's a small tree, right? It doesn't have that much soil to grow in. And you wouldn't go to that tree and be like, you're a complete failure. Look at you. You're a piece of shit. No, you'd be like, wow, this tree's amazing. This tree survived in this very difficult environment, right? Like, this is
mm.
incredible,
Yeah.
and you would appreciate its perfection. Like, yes, it has limitations, right? It's not going to be as tall. It's not going to be as big in that environment, right? But like,
Mm,
but how hard is it to see that about ourselves, right? Like, we can't catch a break from ourselves, we don't see like, okay, well, we're the product of our environment too, right? Um, so
yeah.
I think when you tap into your soul qualities, it just provides a lot more context, right? It provides a sense of like, oh wow, it's Hazrat Nikon has this great saying. He says, um, I live as I was made, but I will be what I choose to be. You know,
Mm,
like we have all these influences from our environment, but we still have, that inner power, right? We still have those
mm.
qualities. We can still make choices. Um,
Yeah,
and
we're co-creators. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And we have to kind of keep in mind there's a dance there, right? Like we
Mm,
don't get to choose everything, right, about our situation. Obviously, there's
yeah.
we don't choose, but
Yeah.
we get to move within that, and we might even have, more power than we realize, right? I mean, while recognizing that, we're the product of these external things that we didn't choose, right? And so we forgive ourselves, we accept ourselves as we are, and yet we have a sense of like, where are we going, right? Um, and this is why your desires are so important, right? We would never want to deny that. We don't want to deny parts of the self, right? We want to say, I mean, this is the logic of saying, look, if this is about unity, everything is part of that, right? There is
Yeah.
no, like if God is everything, then everything is God, right? And well, so then were you going to say that part of God is false, right? I mean, because we have this tradition of saying,
Mhm.
well, there's parts of yourself that are like false, right? Um, and okay, that's a long established spiritual tradition that says the reason that you suffer is because everything that you think you know about yourself is basically wrong, right? um, you are tuned to impermanence. You're tuned to things that are going to pass away and perish, right? So tune yourself to the things that are everlasting. Tune yourself to the things that are eternal and infinite. And that does help a lot, right? I mean, like there's a truth to that.
Mm,
But we also have to recognize, well, yeah, we have our limitations, right? We have the part of ourself that's limited. We have the parts of ourselves that are impermanent, but these parts also have a purpose, right? It all has a purpose. And
mhm.
so we want to respect all of that. We want to feel that um, that thread that connects it all, right? This that connects ourself on the most limited, smallest kind of level, right, to the infinite. um, because it is all connected, right? And it's all one. It's all us. And then we have like less conflict, we have less, because this is one of the things that makes us suffer, right? The conflict that we have, between, like, oh my God, I'm so limited. I feel so frustrated. I wish I could do blah, 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 right? Or I wish I could be whatever. Um, so many limitations, right? We're so familiar with that. Um, but there's a part of us that is absolutely unbounded, that is absolutely infinite, right? Um, and what is it to be with that, right? Our problems and limitations look very different from the perspective of the infinite. And it's a perspective that we don't often, see, right? We don't often experience.
Hmm. Hmm. And you know, it is the limitations which allow the one life to experience itself. It's like
Yeah,
the limitations of existence is where it like provides the framework for the one life to experience itself. It's kind of like when an artist chooses a medium for their art. Like they don't necessarily know all the things that are inside of them, and then they have to choose their medium. This is my medium, whether it be a painting or music, etc.
right.
And it's like, and then they narrow it down into like, this is the way I can bring all the stuff that's inside myself that I don't even know what I'm even going to create into form, and in a way that uh, gives that feedback, right? Like it's and that's very much like we are the art, the existence in real form, not just humans, but like existence overall in real form is kind of the framework, or like the kind of like the instrument from which the music can play, and that through that's how the one life actually can discover itself. It needs those boundaries in order to discover itself.
Very true.
And yeah.
Yeah.
um,
We got a comment here from, Global
Thank you.
Distribution Network, just saying, great. Nice to have you with us. Good to see you.
Wonderful to be with you. um, yeah, shall we meditate, or was
Let's
there
let's try
some?
it out. We
Let's meditate.
we got to go back and forth between philosophy and practice. I
We
mean,
have to, yeah. Um, because your mind can't necessarily conceive of this. This is kind of like one of these experiences that it really has to come from deep within.
yeah,
And your mind and your whole system tries to catch up with it, even though it might take years after even the experience for your mind to kind of catch up with everything. And so, yeah, so I just want to say on a personal note that um, over the last several weeks, I've really been experiencing quite a bit of just pain and within my heart,
mm,
and it can be so heavy. And I've been applying my practices in specifically like in a very deep way, and really tuning myself. It's almost like a surrender. It's like a
mm,
deep, deep surrender to the universal life, which is much bigger than me, and bringing that universal life into my heart, which we've been practicing over the last several weeks if you've been following along. And there's something about, for my process is like I find the deepest nourishment, the deepest need that my pain has in that moment. And then I tune with that particular quality of God. And I bring that particular quality of God in just by asking it to come and believing that it's there. And, through experience and through faith also. And I am blown away. Like, even after all these years of meditating, I'm still blown away at like how much there is this change of the pain in my heart, this
mm,
transformation of the pain in my heart in real time. And
mm,
so, you know, if there is any job that I have in this world, it's to try to share the good news about these things that I'm discovering. And so I just want to encourage everyone that's tuning in that we really are speaking from a place of experience, and it's very much something we wish deeply to share with as many people as can catch the vibe as possible.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
but it
that.
might take some time.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a great point. It's such a journey, right? But like I think it's like I feel like what you're saying is if only people understood the power of these techniques. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I felt this myself. I feel like sometimes in a meditation, I feel like I've lived a lifetime, in that hour or whatever it is, right? Like, because so much moves through you. You experience so much. You process so much. You integrate so much, and um, it's enormously powerful.
Mm.
Because sometimes you have this feeling like certain things take a lot um to understand, to integrate, in
Yeah.
yourself, right? um so I mean, we're here because we're big fans of these techniques, right? Like that's why we're here.
All right, so we're gonna do something a little out of the box today, because we're gonna try to get out of our own box. Um, so take your posture, whatever that means for you today. You can sit in a chair like the pharaohs did, or you can sit in a meditation posture with your legs crossed like the yoginis in many other cultures that I'm sure I don't even know about. And but line yourself up, become like a little antenna with your spine. And we're gonna all do this together. We're all in this together. And when you're ready, maybe closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And then just um, try to feel for a moment just your whole body. And start to breathe, start to deepen your breathing, but in a very subtle way. Like you can definitely still breathe in and out of your nose or any other variation if you have a clogged nose tonight. But it's almost like even though I'm asking you to breathe deep, full breath, it's almost just tuning in with a very subtle energy of your breath. And so do that by trying to consciously focus on your whole body, like feeling your whole body, your whole self, even your pinky toes. And there'll be parts of your body that are excluded from your consciousness or less included from your consciousness. And as you breathe, you're just kind of filling in those gaps as you become aware of them. And we're practicing our deep, full breathing. A lot of times, if you're having, we're going to favorite one or the other. My favorite trick for those of us that have trouble with the inhalation is you almost want to let your guard down. You want to soften. You want to melt. You never want to force the inhalation. You just let everything almost unwind like it's blooming slowly, like a flower. And it's this feeling, this sense of dropping into an internal safety so that you can begin to unwind, so that you can begin to really allow your breath to come in. And on a physical level, it's the you're really creating more and more movement with the diaphragm muscle, which really goes along your whole torso. If you drew a circle around the bottom of your ribs, like your whole diaphragm goes along your whole torso at the bottom of your ribs. And so the physical part is that it's almost like allowing more and more of that muscle, the diaphragm muscle, to move, to open. The inhalation is the opening of the diaphragm. And then if you have trouble with the exhalation, it's really the end of the exhalation that makes all the difference. And so Asatar was talking earlier about the importance of desire, and there's always going to be longing in your heart. Something you wish for, something you desire, something you want. From your depths of your being, from the depths of your soul. And as you exhale, at the end of the exhalation, after that kind of natural release of your breath, at the end of that exhalation, it's like you're reaching for that, like you're sending the wish out for that desire to be fulfilled. And so you want to really give it your all. Use your abdomen muscle physically to draw in toward your spine, like you're trying to empty out all your all of that like momentum toward the desire. And like empty out might not be the right word, but it's like you're really giving everything. And if you have lost it, go ahead and tune in with your whole body again, feeling your whole body as you breathe. And maybe even feeling like your whole body is breathing. And I want to invite you to bow to your heart, just very gently, your head to your own heart, to the very center of yourself. With deep reverence, with deep love. And as you do that, start to hone your focus into the center of your being, the center being your heart, and even the center of your heart, which is the very core of your core zone, the very core within you. And you're just deeply bowing with love, with willing surrender. Love is willing surrender. And in this moment, it's a deep willing surrender to your own unique heart, your own unique light or soul. And as you do that, you keep breathing and trying to feel how the energy is moving through your body on your breath. And I want you to look inside yourself for like a very tender spot in your heart. And it's this interesting, um, it's this interesting place where it's both the most vulnerable part of you but at the same time, it's like the deepest flame within you, like this extraordinary sense of being a nuclei that's holding everything together. The place inside of you that has the most gravitas, the place inside of you that has the most pull. And I really sense it, I really feel it at the height of my solar plexus and the depth of my heart, where those two things meet, those two places inside of me meet, the very depth of my heart and the very height of my solar plexus. It's like those two places inside of me, the height of my truth and the depth of my longing, kiss. And within that space, there's this inversion toward the infinite. And it's like the things that you don't know, the things that your mind cannot reconcile, the things of uncertainty and the issues in the world and the issues that you have in your life, the things that are not going to be fixed by your mind at this moment. You bow your head in deep love and in willing surrender to that part of you that is your deepest sense of the center of your being and your most profound sense of your inner truth, your inner longing, and your inner light. Now we're going to do something even more. So you can stay here, just breathing with this part of you and really discovering it, really becoming aware of it, letting it almost share its own pitch with the rest of your being through your deep breathing. In other words, like your breath is this way of bridging. Your breath is like a bridge, and you can share energy through your whole body, through your whole system on every breath that you take. And so when you find that center of yourself, when you find the core of your being, it can feel like a feeling or like a pitch. And with every breath that you take, you can start to amplify it, sharing it with more and more parts of your body, more and more parts of yourself, even your pain. Now we're going to even broaden more of our consciousness to more parts of ourself, our little self and our big self at the same time, capital S self and lowercase self at the same time, both equally important, both equally valid, both part of the one life. And so I want to invite you to do that by doing a little bit of a physical movement. And the first movement is that you're going to do almost like a crescent shape with the bottom of your heart, right into that space of tenderness and like the core, very core of you, this space of tenderness and profound presence, like intensely it's like this intense gravity of presence in you. And this first movement is an exhalation, and you kind of sweep your head from your left shoulder to your right shoulder. And when you sweep your head, you exhale, and it's like you are exploring and sweeping through at the same time. Like almost like everything that is dense and everything that is so human and everything that's limited. Like you're just sweeping as you exhale into the depth, like look into the depth of your being as you do that. And you exhale and you sweep. And then as you inhale, you reach up with your consciousness. You bring your attention way high up to the cosmos, to the stars, to this sense of light ever shining from all the stars in the sky. The eternal life, the eternal light, the eternal love, the fabric, the glue that holds the fabric of the universe together. You can have any variation you want. You know it when you feel it. It's this attunement with ultimate bliss, ultimate joy, the things that dreams are made of. And it's like you reach for it as you inhale. You look up and you reach for it as you inhale, and you try to touch that feeling. And it might take you a few breaths, take your time with this. But once you touch that feeling, once you get a sense like that's that feeling, exhale and bow your head again to that deep part of you, that part we were just tuning into. And as you exhale, it's like you bow down again into the very core of your being. And you exhale, you blow the energy of the cosmos, of the cosmic consciousness, into that tender and most present part of the core of your being. Just exhale it right in to your physical body. And as you inhale again, stay deep inside your body, and from that tender spot, rise up into your heart as if the light, as if the flame of your soul reaches up into your heart for full realization. Owning your cosmic connection to all things, owning your own heart and the true connection to life that it has inside of it always. So I'll go through that one more time. Please feel welcome to just tune in with what I said if you haven't already. The first exhalation is like a crescent moon sweep through the very dense, limited parts of your being. It's like looking into the deep of yourself, and maybe it's not all limitation, but you really dig. You are not hiding. You are going all the depths of you, sweeping through it. And then you continue that half circle as you look all the way up in toward the cosmos, and you inhale as you reach up way past every form of material life that we know, like way past any feeling of self that you have, that sense of the cosmic light and love, the bigger presence that enfolds all of life. And then as soon as you touch that energy, feel it. You allow your head to bow down into the reverence of your heart as you exhale, and you share that energy, that cosmic consciousness, right into the core of your being, like you're trying to help it remember. Remember, this is a part of you. You do that all in your breath. And then it's almost like a flame or realization that then rises from the deep part of your own body up into your heart, into the center of your heart, owning the presence of all parts of yourself, the limitation, the finite, and the infinite. And you sit for just a moment, feeling the presence of all of life within you. So now I'm going to give some space for silence to practice this. Just a few more breaths of just practicing this sense. And you can do very small movements with your head. They do not have to be big at all, but just whatever helps you tune in. We only have time for one more round in this moment, so take this one last round, these next 2 breaths, and give it everything you have. And then, if you've caught any part of this inside your heart, feeling the power of your own being, feeling the power of your own heart, feeling the infinite within the finite, just take a moment of feeling, experiencing, and living in the presence that's truly your own. All right. And when you're ready, move your body and open up your eyes.
Nice meditation. Thank you.
Thank you. We should probably jump into yours so we have enough time for it. We talked more at the beginning.
We did. We talked. Some are here for our talk, and some are here for our, instruction. So we try to please everyone. And I was thinking about how, when you're unhappy, you can go anywhere and be unhappy, right? When you're at peace, when you're happy, you can go anywhere and be happy, right? So,
That's so true.
like,
Yeah.
what's the problem? Why do we suffer, right? It's an inside job. Um,
Mm.
it's because of, ourselves. And so, we're thinking and trying to experience, like, well, what is this self? What is this about? And it's like a self has layers. Um, and we want to understand, we driven to try to understand ourselves at a deeper level. And so, oh, look, we have a nice comment here from Benjamin. Really needed that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Wonderful.
being here, Benjamin.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Mm.
so let's go into it. We often we're used to staying on the surface, right? Because life gives us a lot of surface level things, doesn't it? Like life doesn't necessarily give us a lot of time to uncover our deepest selves. We have to respond to the stuff that's being thrown at us constantly.
Mm.
And so meditation, we retreat from that a little bit. We close our eyes. We go in a place that's safe. We go in a place where we don't have to be so alert to the outside environment all the time, right? Um, so that we can understand, who are we, right? Really, who are we? Um, and and this is what we're trying to get to, right? We're trying to get to that experience of unity, that feeling of, I am all that there is. And yes, I have certain qualities, right? I mean, people are different, right? You guys have noticed Mia and Leah are different. We have different energy, you
Yeah.
know. um, you know, um, Leah's right and I'm wrong, obviously. We, every way of being right, it's different. We have different qualities. So, we want to understand that, right? Like if we have different qualities energetically, what is the meaning of that? Like obviously we have different histories and different, this is what I mean on the surface level, right? Like, we grew up in different places or whatever else, right? But when we talk about energies, when we talk about qualities, that's a kind of a different level of things, right? We want to experience that energy, that those qualities in their infinity, in their eternity, in their perfection. All right. So let's try this out. We've talked enough. Let's let's go into the meditation, and we'll see if we can get an experience of this. So again, you want to choose a good upright posture and tune into your breath and make your breath deep. So that is, relax your abdominal muscles as you breathe in and allow your belly to just get big. As you inhale, your belly gets big. And as you exhale, you pull in your abdominal muscles, contract, and your belly gets small. Your belly moves towards your spine. And also work on making your breath slow. Slow down your rhythm. We normally operate at such a fast rhythm. That's appropriate for, when a lot of things are coming at us, right? If we want to understand the more subtle dimensions of our being, we need to slow down. By slowing down the breath, we slow down one of our fundamental rhythms. And you slow down the breath by just breathing in more and breathing out more. And making your breath fine and even, one smooth flow of breath that comes in and comes out. In heart rhythm meditation, we're focusing on our hearts. Our hearts are the vessel which holds both the limited parts of ourselves, right? Our thoughts and our feelings, right? But also the unlimited, the eternal, the infinite, the perfect dimension of ourselves that's also held within our heart. And how can we focus on that? How can we focus on the true core of our being? Well, the secret is we use the breath. We breathe into it. We breathe into our hearts. We breathe in and feel that our hearts are breathing in. Our hearts are taking in the energy of the breath. And we breathe out and we feel our hearts radiating, expressing, speaking, as our energy moves outwards in waves far beyond the confines of our physical body. That energy is in fact unlimited. So we're using our attention, we're using our intention, we're using our ability to concentrate the mind. But we have a trick for this to really focus the breath on the heart, and that is to feel the heart beating. This isn't necessarily all that easy, and some people can do it right away, some cannot. So whatever your situation is, you just accept that. That's your starting point. But by paying attention to your breath and trying to focus on your heartbeat, you are breathing into your heart. You are energizing your heart. And that is incredibly powerful. Now, we want the breath to be deep and slow, as I've emphasized, but we also want the breath to be rhythmic. So same length on the inhalation as it is on the exhalation. And we can make the breath rhythmic and also heart-centered by using the heartbeat and counting that to syncopate our breath. So same number of beats on the inhalation as on the exhalation. You can choose the rhythm that works for you. But if you're going to practice this, if you're going to work on this, I would like you to work on your breath, develop your breath to the point where you can do 8 beats in and 8 beats out. You might even do longer, but that makes a very powerful, rhythmic, heart-centered breath. Now, if you can't feel your heartbeat, that's okay. Just notice it where you can, or maybe you just hold on to your wrist like this, right, to feel your pulse with your finger, or maybe just press lightly against your breastbone. All of those are possibilities. Or you could just listen for it, try to feel it. But how do you do the rhythmic breath if you can't quite feel it yet? Well, maybe just imagine what your heartbeat is. You're probably not far off. Just do a count in your mind as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Make your breath rhythmic. By doing a longer count, you're also keeping your breath slow. Expand your belly as you breathe in, contract your belly as you breathe out. And then extend your breath even more. And as you have filled your belly with breath on the inhalation, keep that going and fill up your lungs all the way to the very top of your collarbone. And then as you exhale, empty your lungs and then squeeze your abdominal breath muscles. Squeeze out all the breath, making your breath full. Your breath is very smooth. Your breath is very controlled. Now I'd like you to think about the experience that you're having, the thoughts that you're having, the feelings that you're having. Yourself is like an ocean. And on the surface where the ocean meets the external environment, the land, the air, well, there's the disturbance there, right? The Ocean is moved by the wind. It's affected by the coastline as the waves crash, form rollers, and so on. In the same way, we are affected by our environment. And even when we are meditating, even when we're still, even when we have our eyes closed, there's not as much input from the environment now, right? But still, we hear things, but mostly we think things, we feel things, right? So we're used to being on the surface. We're in the chop of those waves. So I'd like you to try this, right? Consider that every thought that you have comes from a feeling. And those feelings are connected to our qualities, they're connected to our energies. Are you the kind of person, for example, maybe you respond to things by getting angry? Maybe you respond to things by withdrawing. Maybe you just respond to things by trying to figure it out, trying to understand. Maybe you respond to things by trying to make it okay in some fashion, trying to find peace. Maybe some combination of those things, or something else that I haven't even mentioned, right? This comes from your energy. So just think, right? Instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't be having this thought, say, I'm going to go deeper. Behind that thought is a feeling. Behind that feeling, underneath that feeling, is an energetic quality. Go deep into that quality. Maybe you have a sense, maybe you're angry at things that happen. And why? Well, because you have a sense that things could be different. They could be better. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? Now we're getting somewhere. Dive into that feeling. Breathe into that feeling. Don't minimize it. Don't say, oh, that's just me messing up meditation. No, no. Unity means all is one. Every experience that you have in this meditation has a meaning, has a purpose. Go deeper. Inhabit that feeling fully. Breathe into that feeling. Allow it to become bigger. You're upset because someone wasn't asked to you at work. Turn up the intensity of that feeling. Go deeper into it. What's behind that feeling? What's deeper than that? We learn in the Torah that even God gets angry, right? The qualities, the emotions that we have are divine emotions. They start from something that's limited. They start from something that we know, perhaps, but they continue on forever. And as we go deeper into that feeling, whatever it is, it becomes less and less personal. It becomes more and more of a timeless quality, really. Like, what is anger when you abstract from the thing that you're upset about, from the thing that's angered you? Well, it starts to become something like intensity. It starts to become passion. It becomes strong feeling. It becomes more and more difficult to identify it as just one feeling, even, right? And you start to notice that as this emotion becomes less personal, it also becomes more and more timeless. You feel that feeling in others. And this is what allows us to relate to other people. This is why we're so interested in what people have to say in their stories. Yes, the things that you feel, I feel also. That feeling is in all of us. That feeling is infinite. It's eternal. It's unbounded. And there it is in my heart. Wow. Yourself is all of this. Yourself is the limited and the unlimited both. You are the imperfection and you are the perfection. You are the limited and the unlimited. You are the impermanent and you are the eternal. You are the limited human being and you are God. You dive down deep into your heart and experience all that there is. And then you return to the surface with that knowingness, that experience of the infinite within your own heart. Well, your problems and your pains look rather different at that point. I'm not going to promise you that there will be no pain from there on out. I'm not in the business of making those kind of promises. There will still be pain. All I can say is it feels very different. And sometimes you start off feeling absolutely overwhelmed and confused. You might feel like, I cannot go on. Because this is what suffering is. Suffering is pain, along with confusion and meaninglessness. In the sense that I do not understand. When you dive down into the eternal, infinite nature of who you are, you experience yourself as the one being. And when you return to your problems and your pains and the world of limitation, sometimes you just have to smile. My friends, we are infinite beings traveling through this limited life. Every step, every breath, every moment is an opportunity. Every moment is a gift. May you feel that each moment. God bless you. right, we'll end our meditation there.
Mm. Thank you for holding our hand through that exploration, Asatar.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
Well, now that everyone has learned that one weird trick for how to end your suffering, we finally delivered the clickbait that we set out to deliver. Mm.
Take good care of yourself, everyone. You're very important.
Yeah. And we hope to see you again next week.
Yes.
And if you have comments or questions that come up, please let us know. We'd love to work with you.
Thank you. Happy meditating.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.